Arsenal have won 2-0 away at Athletic Club in our first game in the Champions League. We're going to look back at the game and the key talking points. We'll also look at the English clubs in the Champions League and how they're getting on. We're then going to preview another big clash at the Emirates this Sunday in the Premier League as we take on Manchester City. Who's going to start this game and what will be the key areas of concern? We're going to look at all of these points. Finally, the predictions game is back as we make our predictions for this weekend's fixtures. All of this is coming up on episode 16 of Red Lines and Half Spaces. Welcome to episode 16 of Red Lines Half Spaces. Champions League action has begun. Arsenal have won 2-0 in Bilbao. Good victory. Always nice to get our Champions League campaign off to a good start. But here's another way we start well. That's with our co-host, Joe Husson. Joe, how did you like that one? That was, I'm rolling, aren't I?
They're getting better and better each week, yeah. I'm loving it. Your creativity is going through the roof with these.
I know.
I'm very impressed with what you're doing.
I have to think about it. It takes me a minute to think about it. It's like the monkey without, with a big question mark in his head. What do I think about?
I thought this was all pre-prepared. I thought you thought of this stuff before we went live, and are you telling me all of this is done off the cuff?
It's off the cuff. That's
Wow.
what I do. One take, my friend.
I have no words.
So we're also going to cover the other Champions League games because as we're recording this on Thursday morning, Tottenham, Chelsea and Liverpool have played. So we obviously City and Newcastle to play. So we're going to look at all of those, give our thoughts on those. Then obviously we're going to look at the game this weekend. Another big one. They just keep coming. Man City at home at the Emirates. Always a tasty fixture. We're going to have a look at it. Then we'll have a look at the rest of the PL with our lovely host, Joe, doing the predictions table. And we're going to try and claw back some of those points. Try and make sure that Joseph is paying for our meal at the end of the season.
I mean, there's not much in it yet. I think we're one score away going into week 5. So
Come on. That's
all
it.
Still to play for.
I have reviewed the analytical data. I have done my stats. I've used AI to compile everything, and I feel ready to give my 2-1 scorelines for most games.
Right. Scoreline 2-1 going into week 5 of the Prem.
Exactly. Right. Let's cover let's get to it. So obviously Tuesday night, first game, early kickoff. So we were the very first game of the Champions League, which is unusual, but away to Athletic Club, Athletic Bilbao, whatever you call them. Good victory, Joe. As an overall take, I thought it was a solid victory. The Champions League, whenever you start the Champions League, it's kind of like the Premier League season where you've got ring rust, haven't you? Because Champions League and Premier League, I always find is very different in terms of styles of play. You're going to, a big club, no matter what you say, they are still one of the big clubs within Europe. So a tough arena, really nice. I really like their arena as well. Newly built, and good to get out with a 2-0 victory, wouldn't you say, Joe?
Yeah, really good, mate. In our preview show, I think we kind of discussed that Bilbao going forward weren't the most dangerous, but defensively they'd be good. They're very good at home, good home side. So yeah, it was always going to be a difficult game going there. I did always think we'd win. I fancied us to. I think 2-0 was kind of the scoreline that I think if you asked the fans to predict the scoreline, I think a lot would have gone with 2-0 because you just kind of had that feel to it. It would be sort of a first half of feeling each other out, and then you'd expect Arsenal to get the goals late on. Maybe it wasn't exactly how we kind of would have liked it to have gone. But no, to start off the Champions League campaign away from home against one of the top 4 sides in Spain with a win, you can't ask for better than that, really.
Yeah, I think, again, you just want to get out with a win. That's ideal. That's your ideal situation. Get out with a win. Doesn't matter how you do it, but again, I think our defensive solidity showed here, and we'll discuss that. But let's go through the lineup David Raya in goal. I don't think we had any complaints about that one. That was it could have been a toss-up. I don't know if Aaron Kepa would have maybe started cup games, but I think this being the first Champions League game, Arteta wants to go strong. Back for Yuri Timber, Christian Mosquera, who continues his good form coming back in. You've got Gabriel at left centre-back and then Ricardo Calafiori continuing at left-back. How did you view that defensive lineup? Because I don't think there's any argument with Mosquera starting. I thought and again, looking at this game, he was superb, wasn't he, Joe?
He was absolutely brilliant again, wasn't he? And this is the game where, if he was looking at the ones that he was going to play, this would be the one where you'd expect him to have a good game. Obviously, playing in Valencia last year against Spanish opposition, he's kind of used to that. But no, he's brilliant again, mate. And my only surprise was that we didn't rotate as much. I thought we might see MLS come in for this one. I thought, obviously, I know Ben White's still not fit, so I did wonder whether you see Mosquera moved over to right back to give Timber a rest. But no, it was quite. I think you saw the importance of this game by the lack of rotation in the end in that back four. Obviously, that's been our massive strength so far this year. We've only conceded one goal, and it was a 35-yard free kick. So.
But as well as that, Joe, you know, William Saliba was on the bench, so he was available. Last year, Arteta would have thrown him straight back in and just said, "We need you back. You're, your best defender." No doubt he is, he is one of the best. But this showed Arteta's faith in Mosquera, didn't it? That he didn't get on effectively. So you'd think he'd come back for the City game, and we'll talk about that. But it showed his trust in a 21-year-old who looks absolutely amazing, to be honest. I don't think he put a foot wrong at all in the game.
He looks absolutely sensational, doesn't he? And we're sort of always talking about, do you get value for money with players these days and stuff? And what was we getting for? Like 13, 14 million?
13 million. Andrea Berta. So the news coming out is that Andrea Berta really pushed hard for this one because he was interested when he was at Atletico Madrid. Absolutely justified. What an astounding signing. Because, look, he's going to make mistakes. There is absolutely no doubt he will. But the quality he's shown so far is, in big games, Champions League, no matter if he's played these, if he's played Athletic Club before, it's a Champions League game. It's a step up. First game for them in the Champions League. They were up for it, and we'll talk about that as well. But I thought Mosquera was superb. It's so reassuring to have that kind of depth now that you've got a player where you don't miss Saliba at all. I'm not saying you won't. He's one of the world's best defenders, no doubt. But you're looking at Mosquera going, I have no issues bringing him in, and so it proved in this game, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Like we've said on many other podcasts, I mean, when we've been bringing in backup defenders before, we've almost been saying our prayers at kickoff, hoping that they can get through the game and it doesn't cost us too much. But with Mosquera coming in, I mean, both of us, and I assume most of the other fans, there's no nerves at all because you've seen how good he is. And yes, Gabriel and Saliba are probably two of the best centre-backs in the world these days. But Mosquera almost looks like a bit of a hybrid between the pair of them. He kind of had that ruggedness of Gabriel, but he seems to be able to sort of pick the right pass and play sort of progressive passes similar to what Saliba does. Don't get me wrong, I don't think individually he's as good as either one of them, but he's so much younger than they are.
And he will get there. I think he'll get there.
Got so much more developing to do. He could quite easily be on their level or better by the time he reaches similar age and similar experience. So really, really, really promising, mate. Really promising.
And as you said, Joe, you alluded to it, Ricardo Calafiori continuing at left back. Again, his fitness continues to get better. He's playing it's now 5 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good, but obviously we've got the rotation options in Miles Lewis-Skelly and Piquero and Capia, who did come on. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I thought we would rotate this one. I mean, is there a concern about Miles Lewis-Skelly? He will get games, but he didn't have the greatest preseason. So is there a concern with Arteta's look? We do need to just let him grow a bit because look, he had a fabulous season last season, but he played a lot of games, didn't he? Because of Ricardo Calafiori's injury and Zinchenko's lack of
ability.
I wasn't going to say it, but yes. But Calafiori, I would assume will start the Man City game as well, just because he is the in situ winger, left back. And he started all the games so far. I don't see there's any reason why you wouldn't rotate. But it's good, but will he? I assume Port Vale, he will rotate him out, won't he, for one of the two?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if for that Port Vale game you see Miles at left back and Hincapié maybe at left centre back.
Yeah.
Get them both and give Gabriel a rest. I think they might be eyeing that game up for Ben White possibly to make us kind of return as well because he seems like he's nearly back fit. But yeah, Miles will get game time. Obviously, he didn't pre-season. He wasn't at his magnificent best than how consistent he was last year, which is understandable given his age. I mean, he's
Yeah.
still a child, and I think what's happened with Max Dowman is we've kind of forgotten that Miles, Ethan, they're both still really young players.
Exactly.
Because of Max Dowman's coming so young, it almost makes you think that Miles and Ethan should be doing better, but they're still kids as well. So yeah, he'll get game time. I think, like you said, you'll see. I think you will now see the big rotation for that Port Vale game, where you could arguably see 9-10 changes made from the Man City team that plays. But yeah, I've got no concerns. I think he'll be given time, and eventually he'll come back into the team. He'll get minutes. We know Calafiori's not going to play every minute of every game, and I think off the bench, Insco going into left back, some games coming off the bench going into midfield. I think he still gives us a brilliant option in some of them games where we just want a bit more control on the ball.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. So let's look at the midfield. Martin Odegaard, we knew, did not travel. So the midfield became Martin Zubimendi, Mikel Merino, and Declan Rice. I kind of get where Arteta is going with this one because, look, I know there's a clamour for Neri to start, and I think, personally, I would have started him.
Yeah.
But Arteta is very pragmatic in his approach generally. He wants to not lose the game. That's his base criteria. Do not lose the game. And he will set up as such, and anything else is almost the cherry on the top, especially with the Champions League, because he doesn't want to lose the first Champions League game. So I kind of assumed Mikel Merino will start that game, and it turned out to be that way. I don't think, for me particularly, it was very effective. I thought Mikel Merino was okay, didn't do anything spectacular, but he really did do what he's good at, which is almost becoming that kind of second striker and getting shots away. I don't think he got enough. He wasn't involved enough there. But that mainly was as well with Athletic Bilbao actually doing really well in the transition and pressing and getting through. What did you make of the midfield, Joe?
Like you said, Matt, I kind of understand it in your first Champions League game away from home. I'm not against it as such. I personally, like you, would go a different way. I'd like an Ethan start in there just because I think it gives us a bit more dynamism going forward. But away from home in Europe, going with that midfield, obviously Marino has experience, again, of playing in Spain. Zubimendi experience of playing in Spain. They know what Bilbao are about. So, yeah, horses for courses, isn't it? I mean, Arteta's gone there and said, you know what, I want familiarity. I want players who know what it's like to play at this level in the opening game of the Champions League, which is totally understandable. The atmosphere there was going to be red hot because obviously Bilbao back in the Champions League for the first time in a long time. So you put your experience in there, so they're not going to be overawed by that. And yeah, absolutely fine. I still personally think that Marino, Zubimendi, Rice, it's a little bit stodgy for me. There's not a criticism as such. I just don't think there's enough dynamism in there, which I think Odegaard, obviously, 1 year. I think if Eze was in there, he'd give us that as well. Just a bit more attacking flair. But no, for your opening away tie, in the Champions League, putting that midfield out, yeah, it's fine for me. It's not too much of a talking point, I don't think.
Okay, fair enough. And then up front, we started with Noni Madueke, who continued his excellent form, I thought, in this game. Victor Gyökeres, who looked a lot better in this game, although didn't get a goal, and we'll talk about that. And then obviously on the left was Eberechi Eze. We'll get to Eze in a second, but again, I'm going to touch on Noni Madueke because I thought actually, again, he looked really good. He was the one creating the chaos, really direct, continues his good form. I think he had another very good game, don't you, Joe?
Yeah, it's a good game, mate. I think he's, like we said before with him, just very positive all the time. Always, whenever he gets the ball, you can see he stands the defender up straight away. There's no sort of just negative touch with him. You very rarely see him sort of take a touch back towards sort of where
Yeah.
Tim was kind of playing, which is what we love. His first thought always is to receive the ball and then to be in a position to go at the fullback. He might not always take that option. He might play it inside. He might play it back. But his body position, he always gets himself ready to go at the fullback. And that's a massive thing to have, because it just straight away puts the fullback on the back foot, and the fullback can't get out to press as quickly, because he knows if he does, it's just one quick touch past him and Madueke's away at his pace. So, yeah, Madueke, another good game. My only criticism of him is obviously the lack of end product. I mean, he beat his man a lot of times. He's driving into the area, doing well. We just now need to see goals and assists from him.
Yeah,
Once we get
I
something like that, I think more will come. But I think the longer he goes without that, then you might start to see sort of fans saying, right, okay, it's all well and good being this positive kind of influence off the right-hand side, but we've got to see something. They've got to see an outcome, and goals and assists is going to be his currency. So, yeah, I think as long as we see that, mate, again, really positive game, but I just want to now see the next step up, which will be goals and assists added to his numbers.
Yeah, I agree. I think he needs to just work on that final ball, get his head up, gets into such good positions, just lift your head a little bit and get that final ball away. Victor Gyökeres. Now, Thierry Henry provided some rightly criticism of Victor Gyökeres's game on his in his analysis. But I thought Victor Gyökeres actually had a better game than he's had for a while. He's starting to look a little bit fitter. He's pressing better. He looks more. He's lost a little bit of weight again. But obviously goals are his currency, and he did have a few good chances. He had the header the diving header, which I think he could have done better with. And then obviously he had the one, he was through on goal, but he was quite clumsy with his touches. Do you think that Victor Gyökeres, A, had a good game or was better, and then B, should have had a goal at least within this game? And is Thierry Henry's criticism justified? Because for a lot of people debating, obviously there is noise around Victor Gyökeres, as there always is. There will be because of his record. But I can see game by game, he is gaining that sharpness. He's gaining that in that incessant pressing that he does. That's what he was known for. And I think it will come personally, because I can see the bits and pieces coming. What do you think, Joe, with Victor Gyökeres?
Yeah, I think he had a good game without doing anything amazing. It's just kind of like a solid performance where you give him sort of a 6.5 kind of rating, I think. But if he got a goal, then that's straight up to a 7 or an 8. So he had a good game. I think for me, the chance I was most disappointed he didn't take was that header at the start of the second half, I think, where he kind of just bumped the defender, really intelligent sort of centre forward play, and gave himself sort of a free header back across the keeper and sort of put it wide.
Yeah.
I think the diving header, unlucky, good effort. And in terms of the chance that Henry was critical of, I get it to a certain extent, but then equally, I think Henry was obviously one of the best players in the world and ever. Do you know what I mean? It's not just of his generation. He is one of the greatest of all time. So I almost feel like for him, certain things were easy when they're not easy for everyone. And I wonder if sometimes if his criticisms are kind of from the perspective that things that he would find easy, other people would struggle with. And I wonder, like that sort of chance he was talking of, Henry, that was his bread and butter, receive it on the left-hand side, cut in and roll it across the keeper. He'd done that more times than me and you could ever imagine, but that doesn't come so naturally to everyone. So, yeah, I mean, I do understand the criticism, but I wonder if it's a bit harsh. Because equally, I know we'll go into it, but Martinelli, you could argue, even for his goal, his first touch, it was poor. The header, I mean, if he doesn't score from that, I imagine he'd get the same sort of criticism, because that header should be out in front of him and onto it straight away. But no, I think Gyökeres had a good game without scoring. I think the biggest concern for us would be if he wasn't having any chances. If we was going through these games and he wasn't getting shots on goal, he wasn't sort of being played in. But he had, I mean, with the 2 headers and that 1-on-1, he had 3 decent chances. And once he's fitter, once he's more confident, he takes at least one of them. And sooner or later, the goals will come. But as long as he's getting chances, I think you hear all kind of like the great strikers who sort of talk about their experiences, is that as long as they're getting chances, they're happy. It's when they're not getting chances, that's when you start to worry.
And
So
there are more chances. There's more chances coming to him. They're starting to feel out how he works.
yeah, of
So
course. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think he's going to get more chances. Let's talk about the final bit of our attack, which was Eberechi Eze on the left. There again is some criticism for Eze's performance, or lack thereof. I'm going to take the view here that yes, it wasn't the greatest performance, but there are some factors. Calafiore being inverting didn't really help him out much because Eze was quite isolated. And then and people saying, "Oh, he hugged the touchline too much." No, he didn't. He really came in actually.
Mm,
But I also think as well, this is his first Champions League game. It's the ultimate level, and you're going to get a bad performance. I don't think this is an indicator of, oh, he doesn't fit there. I think he's a superb player.
mm,
This is a step up for him, and he will get better. I fully expect that because I did see some things that I thought, okay, he's going to do well, and obviously he got the assist on the weekend. I think it's a lot to expect sometimes to have a player come in straight away and go bang bang bang. There's no guarantee of that ever. Um, what's your opinion, Joe, on Eze's performance here, but just overall? Because look, it's 2 starts, got an assist last time. He's uh, I think there's too much noise from Arsenal fans when someone is not delivering 10s or 9s or
mm.
10s straight away.
Yeah, I think even not necessarily Arsenal fans, I think just the general kind of media at the moment, it does seem very sort of Arsenal focused. There seems to be a lot of kind of, like we kind of discussed, like again, we'll go into other Champions League, but Liverpool get a late winner again last night and everyone's heaping praise on them. But if that's Arsenal, I feel like a lot of the talk would have been, well, there's 2-0 up. They should never have allowed Atletico back in the game. So it's weird. It feels like sort of the famous George Graham thing of everyone hates Arsenal again. And I feel like I'm kind of being sucked into it. And now that I've noticed it, I feel like I'm spotting it more and it's irritating me more. But yeah, I think in terms of Eze's individual performance, obviously not the best. Would expect more from him. I think you have to give Athletic Bilbao praise because I think they defended really well. I think they had a really good disciplined shape. I think they cut off a lot of like the passing lanes as well with their shape. I think defensively had a really strong game.
Yeah, I agree.
And like you said, with Eze and Calafiori mostly inverting, that didn't allow kind of Eze that space to drift inside that we know he wants to do because he didn't have anyone overlapping. So yeah, he was a bit isolated at times. I'd expect him to get better. And like you perfectly put it, mate, Champions League is another level now. He's played obviously Premier League. He knows what that's about. But going into the Champions League, I mean, even when we had that first season back and Declan Rice, I think I remember him doing an interview afterwards saying the Champions League is another level now.
Yeah, of course it is.
I remember him saying in an interview, he was like, it's an eye opener for me because you play a completely different way. And it'll come. Eze's an intelligent footballer. He's too good not to make a success of it. So again, no, I've got no concerns that he's going to be a flop or anything like that, like as the media would love to try and sort of dress it up as. But yeah, it's a good eye opener for him. I think it's a good way for him to see what this competition is about, and I'd expect him to be better in kind of the upcoming games, definitely.
Yeah, agree. So the game was decided with 2 goals from our 2 substitutes, or as Mikel Arteta puts them, finishers. Um, First one, Gabriel Martinelli, who has come in for some, I think, justified criticism. I think we can all agree with that. But you cannot take away from how he took this goal. It was um, a bunch of headers from different players, and then obviously got to Trossard, and he hooked it onto Martinelli, who was racing through. As you said, Joe, just a few minutes ago, first bad touch, but recovered it really well, got through and slotted it in. But this is where you kind of want Martinelli when he's one on the shoulder almost of the last defender to race away, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. When we've discussed sort of Martinelli previously, I've said that I'd quite like to see him given sort of run at centre forward rather than being on the left wing, because I feel like on the left he has probably lost a bit of confidence maybe, and secondly I think through the middle you saw kind of flashes of Martinelli when he first started playing for Arsenal. He was playing as a centre forward and he looked brilliant. So I just feel like with him being able to play on the shoulder, kind of drifting in and around the penalty area, I feel like there'd be less decision for him to make. If the ball comes to him, he'd strike it. And I feel when you're sort of low on confidence, you're overthinking things. And I think what we needed to do was kind of give Martinelli a run game in a position where he doesn't need to think too much, where he can just act on instinct. And that's when he's at his most dangerous. But took the goal brilliantly. Like I said, the first touch was poor, but the second touch was just outstanding. Just completely kind of made up for the lack of kind of the first touch. But yeah, when he went through, finished it brilliantly. Really, really chuffed for him. Just really happy for him, because obviously we've been quite harsh on him. I think a lot of the fan base have kind of been discussing, should he go, should he stay, what do we do with him, is he ever going to get to a level of sort of where we want him to be? So for him to come on and be the difference maker with Trossard, to be fair, it's a really, really nice moment for him. And I think all the fans, I think you saw in the players' celebration, in the fan celebration, everyone loves Martinelli. Everyone is just so keen for him to do well and be a big player for this club. So yeah, it's just a really nice moment, and he took the goal brilliantly. What was it, 30 odd seconds after coming on as well?
Yeah, 30 odd seconds.
So just instant impact from the sub. And as we've discussed many times, mate, that's squad depth for you. We've now got squad depth, and we've now got variety as well. You've got Eze, who likes to receive the ball, kind of come short for it, beat his man, take players on, come inside. Okay, that's not working. We'll bring on someone who's just got pace, who loves to play on the shoulder and play the complete opposite way. And teams will have to adapt to us, and if they don't, this is what will happen. So yeah, really, really good goal. Really happy for him, and good assist from Trossard as well. Good to spot the space in behind and that little flick over the top. Really good from both of them.
Well, Trossard had a very good appearance as well. A goal and an assist again. The thing I have with Trossard is when he starts, he looks very ineffective. I find he loses way kind of, and is, again, like Martinelli, just struggles to get into the game really. But when he comes on, he's usually got the space to really affect the game, either with an assist or a goal. What do you make of him, Joe? Because look, he's signed a new deal which upgrades his salary, but he was. I don't think it was a secret that we were open to offers for him. But he's still a very good player. He's still a very unusual profile that gives something different because he can play multiple positions, but he's very clever, especially when coming on, it looks like more and more.
Yeah, so like we were saying earlier when we saw about Madueke, you've got Madueke who's got all the kind of positive sort of drive towards the area, looks fantastic because he's always trying to beat a man, he's quick, but doesn't have much end product. And then you've got Trossard, which is the complete opposite, who probably doesn't look very good to the eye. So he's not particularly fast, can sort of drop a shoulder and go away, but doesn't kind of look sensational in anything he does. But he just racks up goals and assists. He's just an output machine. And like we discussed previously, I think only Saka's got more goals and assists than him in the last few years. So yeah, I mean, for 20 million, would I have let him go? I probably would have done. But in hindsight now, looking at it, would 20 million have been enough considering what he might do for us in terms of output over the next 6 to 12 months? If he gets into double figures for goals and assists again, would you argue that 20 million wouldn't be enough? It's a question for you, isn't it? But no, again, he comes in and he does what Trossard does, sets one up, gets a goal. Not entirely sure how it ended up in the back of the net. I think he sort of toe poked it off the post and in. I don't know if it hit the defender as well, but
They all count.
Yeah, exactly, mate. It doesn't matter. The ball's in the back of the net. It's 2-0. Game wraps up. And yeah, just brilliant for both of them to come on and make the difference. And again, just shows that the squad depth we have is, rather than having Trossard and Martinelli start and then them having the struggles that Eze and Madueke did, and then we're looking at bringing on Kieran Tierney and Raheem Sterling to make a difference. We're now bringing on Trossard and Martinelli, who will come on to make a difference because they're outstanding players. So, yeah, brilliant depth, brilliant variety to the depth as well. And yeah, just a really, really good result in the end.
Yeah, it was a good result. I think it's a great way to start the Champions League
Mm.
away, get the campaign going. The next game is at Olympiacos at home, which I think we should be looking at as we should be strong there again, just to get the to start, start the campaign right, because it is a league campaign. It's a parallel league campaign, effectively, isn't it, Joe? I mean, this is the thing. You've got to going from Wednesday to the Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, etc. You got to get this rhythm going, because the more wins you rack up, the better it is, and you want to finish in those top 8 slots, because not only the higher you are, the more chance you have of starting your, being at home in the second leg, but as well as that, you want to avoid that extra leg in
Mm.
January, don't you?
Yeah, you don't want that extra fixture, do you? So yeah, I think, like you said, mate, for Olympiacos, could potentially rotate a little bit, depending if we've got any sort of more injuries back. Because if you think of it, this game, we're still without Havertz, we're still without Saka, we're still without Odegaard. Was Ben White on the bench, or was he out as well?
No, he was out as well.
But Ben White's still out, so we've still got a lot of players to come back as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
I I don't think we'll rotate. I think we're still gonna be strong, but I still think there's gonna be more rotation. I think there may be 1 or 2 rotations,
hmm.
because
And
again,
this is what it'll be
it's
all about now, mate. This is what will be the deciding thing, is that in these games we can now take 2,
yeah.
3 players out max and not lose that quality, and then that allows players to get a rest while we're still putting out a very strong 11. So yeah, I think it's really important to win that game as well, because obviously we've now got harder tests to come. Bayern Munich,
Mm.
it's really good last night, I have to say. Their front four of Kane, Elise, Diaz, scary. That is a good sort of front three they've got. So yeah, the harder games are to come, mate. But what we need to do, like you said, is rack up the wins against these teams, and then it takes a bit of pressure off when you come to them big games. And they're not so much as must-win games in the end, and you can go and have a bit more freedom and play without that pressure.
Yeah, I agree. So, good win. We'll move on. Let's look at the other our rivals' Champions League results. Starting with Tottenham, who played the same night against Villarreal, 1-0 own goal. Ooh, I thought this was a very poor game. Pretty dull, wasn't it? I mean, Tottenham did well to win the game. Again, always good to start your Champions League game with a win. But Villarreal should have had. I think they should have been at least in the game, but it was a pretty poor game, wasn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it wasn't the highest quality, was it? But no, I mean, again, Spurs fans won't be bothered. Back in the Champions League, and you start with a 1-0 win. Really, it doesn't matter, does it? Come the end of the league phase, you don't look back and say, "Oh yeah, we smashed them 4-0 and was a brilliant first game." It really doesn't matter. You just get your wins.
How do Spurs get at a Europa League level Champions League run? Because I'm looking at their fixtures. Let's have a look at it. So they have got. So have you said their fixtures are Bodo Glimt next in the Champions League away, Monaco, Copenhagen, the hardest one, PSG inevitably, Slavia, and then Dortmund. You'd expect them to win Bodo Glimt, Copenhagen, Monaco, and Slavia, wouldn't you?
Mm.
Dortmund's a bit of a toss-up, but PSG is going to be a hard one. But although they did beat them in the Super Cup,
Mm.
but that's a pretty generous run in the Champions League, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not being funny. You'd expect them to arguably get 15 points out of them, sort of the other five, wouldn't you? The games they've got, you expect
Yeah,
in all of them. So yeah, fair fair play to them. They've got a lovely little run in the Champions, and there's no reason why they shouldn't make it to the knockouts with them teams they've got to play.
yeah. Crazy. We also had Liverpool playing then on Wednesday night. Very interesting game against
Mm.
Atletico Madrid, ending up 3-2 with a last-minute header. Again, last minute from Virgil van Dijk. I've just now got to this phase where Liverpool will win.
Mm.
They've got something there. It's like a hand of God type thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? That they just somehow get this, because they started off really well, got 2-0 ahead, and then Atletico Madrid, to their credit, came back 2 goals from Llorente, but then the last minute winner. But Liverpool were, again, this is a different scenario from Burnley, where Burnley defended well and Liverpool didn't really have much. I think Liverpool deserved to get the win, but it's just cruel the way it happened, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but like you said, it's Liverpool, isn't it? At Anfield as well. You kind of expect them to get goals like that. Atletico did well, to be fair, to come back into the game because at one point I thought Liverpool could run away with that and end up winning sort of fours and fives. Um, but yeah, Liverpool again. Was it 5 out of 6 of their goals this year have come after the 80 something minute? It's just
Who have they
ridiculous.
got this weekend? I've got to see who they got because I'm just going to say, look, it's the 90th.
It's the Merseyside derby, isn't it? Saturday, the early one.
Oh, last minute, aren't they again? That is teed up for a last minute winner, isn't it?
Yeah,
Somehow
nice
because it just
2-1, 2-1 win. Yeah.
oh, for God's sake. Is that what? Oh, you take away my predictor already. uh, right, and then the last game that has been played so far from our rivals is Chelsea versus Bayern Munich in the Munich Stadium. Bayern Munich looked a level above Chelsea, didn't they? Really, it wasn't. It didn't look. I think Chelsea, they will do okay in this tournament, but there is a level. I think they just look a level below, don't they, at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, you won't hear me say this often, but in fairness to Chelsea, they are up against Bayern Munich, who are just Champions League mainstays, aren't they? Every year they're there. They know what it's
Yeah,
about. I know Chelsea have won it, but their squads, they've spent a lot of money. They've gone under like it's a big change they've had from their sort of from the Champions League days. I'm not sure many of their starting 11 would have played in the Champions League, possibly. A few of them might be making debuts.
yeah.
But yeah, when you look at the Bayern side of Lise, Gnabry, Diaz, Harry Kane, it's a frightening front four they've got. Um, so yeah, I mean, again, Chelsea gone up a really strong sort of Champions League side. If you could have got something from that game, you'd be laughing. But I don't think Chelsea would have been gone there expecting to win that game. I think if they could have, they could have won it, then there'd have been big celebrations. Because I think they'd have probably gone there thinking, if we can get a draw out of this one, it's a good start. But yeah, Bayern Munich, one of the strongest teams out there. So yeah, and like we said, they've reinforced that side. They've kind of moved on from the Robin Ribery days, and I feel like they've now finally got two very good wingers in Diaz and Elise again. Um,
Mhm.
so I think Bayern could be something to be reckoned with in this competition this year. I think they might cause teams a few problems and go quite a long way.
We got to play them at the Emirates, but that'll be a very interesting contest.
Mm.
Um, and then obviously tonight we have got Thursday night we're playing fixtures, Champions League fixtures still going.
It's so
City
wrong.
playing Napoli. I know it does feel really wrong.
Thursday night
Thursday nights are
Champions League.
reserved for the lesser competitions, your conference leagues, your Europa leagues. It
Yeah,
doesn't feel right.
Thursday night Champions League doesn't sound right to me.
That doesn't. But City play Napoli at the Etihad, which is good for us because we play them on the weekend, so we've got 2 days extra rest, and then a very tasty fixture: Newcastle versus Barcelona in the new camp. Joe, let's start with the City game because we're going to talk about obviously our City preview, but this is going to be a tough test, isn't it? Napoli are a very good team, and Conte is an astute tactician. He knows how to set up. Not going to be an easy contest. They will have to play their strongest lineup, won't they, in this game?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think everyone, no matter who you're playing in your first Champions League game, I think everyone plays their strongest 11, whether you're playing Bodo Glimt or whoever it might be. I think everyone goes strongest because you know how important that first win of the Champions League is to kickstart your campaign. Napoli won't be an easy game. I'm not sure kind of where their team's at these days.
So they've got Scott McTominay, Hoyland. They've got Hoyland now as well. So 2 Premier League mainstays in there. I mean, they won the league last year very in a very good manner. Scott McTominay obviously proving a very astute buy. It's I can't predict it because again, when you're back in the Champions League, it's a very different ask, isn't it? Especially going to the Etihad, no matter what state City are in, and we'll talk about their injuries, etc. But
Mm.
you're right. I don't know what kind of game to assume, but Conte he's a veteran in these games, so you'd assume it's gonna be difficult, wouldn't you, for City?
Yeah, I mean, I think they conceded the fewest goals in Serie A last year, Napoli. So They'll obviously be good defensively, as you'd expect from most Italian teams. Um, so it'll be a difficult game for them because they won't. Conte, obviously, with his Premier League experience, he knows about City. So he's kind of got that in his back pocket. So it'd be interesting to see how they go. I'd expect it to be an interesting game to watch, definitely. I'm not sure I'd fancy. Thing is, you just don't know with City at the moment, do you? Because usually, I was just about to say I'd fancy City to win it, but then, given a few of their Premier League performances this year, you kind of don't know whether you're going to get the good or the bad from them. So I think it really just depends on what City turn up in this game, to be honest, and hopefully Napoli give them a really physical, difficult game. A few tired legs.
Why would that be? Why would you want it to be physical? I can't think, Joe. I don't know why. Would you look, we don't wish injuries on anyone, but look, if people pull up with some kind of impediment, I will not be crying. Let me just say that. If Haaland goes over, look, again, I don't wish injury on anyone, but from a personal for this weekend, I am rooting for Napoli to be physical. Get stuck in.
All,
You know,
all we
just
want, all we want is someone from Italy to come over with a bit of a bug. Maybe one of their back
yes.
staff have got a bit of an illness, a bit of norovirus or something. Shake hands with Haaland at the end of the game. Oh, Haaland's been struck down with illness on Saturday night. Then wouldn't that be
What
nice?
a shame. No.
That's what we want. No,
But
no
yeah,
injury, no sign of suffering. Just a really bad snotty nose, achiness in the limbs. Can't really move very well. That's all we ask.
kind of like Joe. Look,
Yeah.
if you can't tell by
Speaking
the
from
voice, Joe
experience,
has been suffering. Joe has been suffering with a little bit of a virus for the last 2 days, so we are very grateful that he's doing this. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I think it'll be very interesting, and I'm going to watch that tonight, as opposed to the other game, which we're going to talk about now, which is Barcelona versus Newcastle, which is a very interesting contest.
Mm.
When they met in the Champions League last time, a long time ago, Newcastle made it very interesting, but I think Newcastle in a bit of transition at the moment. I think this is going to be a bit of a. I can't see anything but a Barcelona win in this one. Can you, Joe?
no, I think so, mate. Was the last time they played? Was it Tino Asprilla hat trick? Was that when they
Yeah,
last
they've
met?
done all their media. They've done all their media with Tino Spreer saying, "I remember that game very well," and all
What
this kind of
on,
stuff.
on
Obviously, not in
like
that
that
voice,
was?
but in a South American voice. Um, he
What?
doesn't say hello there.
No, I can't
I'm
imagine
here to talk.
Asprilla speaking like that, to be honest, Jem. But is it Newcastle or Barca at home?
It's Barca at home. It's at the camp. It's at the new camp. Well, not the new camp. You know, they're playing elsewhere because the new camp's not even ready yet. It's not even finished yet.
Right. Okay.
But you'd assume Barcelona. Lamal's out, so Yamal is out.
Oh, is he?
He's out. Yeah, he's injured.
Oh, it's just
But
with his
they've still got too much.
injury or whatever. Is that still that?
I am not saying what I don't what's going on, but you'd still assume with Rafinha, Pedri, the quality they've got, Lewandowski, it's going to be still Barcelona's to win, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you'd fancy Barca to win again just through sheer Champions League pedigree and experience of playing in that competition. Um, I think if it was at St James's Park, obviously the crowd would have
Mm.
a part to play in it, which could. You've lied to me, Em. Newcastle are at home, apparently.
Is it? I thought it was in the Camp Nou.
I've got Newcastle at home
No,
here
because
as our
it is
host.
Newcastle. Oh, gee.
Oh,
Oh, so they
our
will be
host
interesting.
steered us in the wrong direction. So yeah,
Sorry, no, apologies.
I think at Newcastle, obviously, we've seen what that fan base was able to do when they was in the Champions League and they played PSG.
Mm.
So yeah, that'll be a really good game to watch. I think the fans and the stadium and the atmosphere and stuff will play a big part in it. I think you'd still expect Barca to get the win, but
But it's going to be chaotic, isn't it? Newcastle will thrive on make it chaotic, won't they?
yeah, you wouldn't be at all
It's going to be
surprised if
physical.
Newcastle got something out of that game because the noise and the atmosphere at St James's will be absolutely electric. That'll be an experience to be a part of up there, definitely.
And Newcastle will make it physical. They will make it physical from the outset, won't they? They won't hide that. You'll see Joe Linton going in. You'll see Bruno Guimaraes go in.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah,
So what are you going to go for?
Newcastle play their game at home, definitely. Well, you score prediction for this one?
I think Barcelona will still win it, but it'll be tight.
Mm.
I think like a 2-1. Keeping my
I'm gonna
predicting.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go different. I'm gonna go for 2-2.
Okay, and then in the Man City Napoli game, what are you going to go for?
I'll go 2-0 City.
I think 2-0 as well. I
Yeah,
think
it's
City will
got, it's
get
got kind of
through,
all
but
that
it's
air.
going to be a tough. It's going to be tough. Still think it'll be a physical game there. I think Conte will make it awkward, but I don't think. I mean, let's transition into it. Actually, let's talk about City. We've got them City at the weekend. Obviously, we are the Super Sunday fixture, aren't we? We are the
Yep,
Super
we
Sunday
are.
fixture. I'm pretty. Yeah. City play tonight, and we've played obviously 2 days ago. Managed to get back in good time as well because it was 5:45 kickoff, so no issues there. 2 days rest. But we go I go into this City game, Joe, and you mentioned it before. I don't know what City team is going to turn up because they've been very unpredictable. It's not the City of old. And I honestly don't know what you're going to get because they've lost Kevin De Bruyne. They have lost a lot of creativity, but there is still a lot of quality in that squad. I mean, if I look at their injury list, Kovacic out, Ryan Cherky out, Ait Nouri out, Marmoush out, Kevin Phillips out. That's a significant amount, especially some of the new players like Marmoush and Ait Nouri and Cherky, who are very creative players. You've still got Bernardo Silva, you've got Doku, and you've got a few others, but it's not exactly the Man City of old, is it, Joe?
No, it's not the Man City that kind of struck fear into you when you thought, "Oh God, we got City at the weekend. That's
Yeah.
a tough game." I mean, it'll be a tough game. I think it's quite a big injury list. I think you'd say, because I think you'd argue that most of them injuries there are starters for them.
Yeah.
But then equally, you could say we're missing Saka, we're missing Havertz, Saliba's been out, will he be back? Ben White's been out, will he be back? So we've got our own injury problems. But weirdly, it's almost as if we've now got a deeper squad than Man City, which is something I never thought I'd be saying in my lifetime. So it'll be difficult. It'll be a hard game. We know it'll be a hard game. It's Man City. They're a good side. It just depends again, like we said, what Man City are going to turn up, because obviously first game of the season they just obliterated Wolves, and everyone was like, right, okay, Man
Yeah.
City finish this year. But then obviously they got turned over by Spurs and then had the loss at Brighton as well.
Beat Man They beat Man United, but I thought Man United were really poor on the day, physically didn't
Yeah,
challenge them. It was
yeah. I
too
mean,
easy. It was
like you said, mate,
I
Man
don't think
United, didn't really feel like a derby game, did it? In the end,
no, it just felt like United rolled over. It was too easy for them. It was,
yeah. Like,
mostly, Haaland got, it
good
was
fight against.
mistakes really, wasn't it?
Yeah, United battled well against us. I thought they put in quite a good performance, obviously in front of the home fans. But yeah, at City, they kind of just rolled over and let City rub their tummies, basically. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a hard game. Like we said, we'd have Haaland. He's always dangerous. I know Saliba and Gabriel have done well against him previously, but that counts for nothing this
But
weekend.
Gabriel loves this one. This is the one he
This is
loves, isn't it? He loves it.
this is the game he loves more than any other. You get that impression, don't you? This is kind of that battle of
What he's
battle of
built for.
the
What he's built for. It's
yeah.
what he's built for, isn't he? He just wants to go. He loves it. He loves a bit of it, doesn't he? And Saliba loves it as well. They love shutting Haaland out. But again, it's very awkward to predict. They are still a very good side. You look at them, Donnarumma. The back line is not what it used to be. You've got Nunes at right back, which I think is a area to exploit. Then you've got Diaz and who's their centre back at the moment? Who's their centre? I can't remember his name now. I've lost it.
Is it that Kusanovic or whatever?
No, I don't think Kusanov. I don't think it'd be
Kusanov, sorry.
Kusanov. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be Gvardiol. I think Gvardiol will start
Guardiola.
at left centre back, and then left back it could be. It could be Gvardiol at left back, and think
I
it's
was
an
saying
interesting
Guardiola at
one.
left back done quite well for them, didn't he? Last year, I think he's contributed quite a few
He
goals.
did,
Played
and he's a
quite
bit
well.
of an outlet. The problem they've got Nico O'Reilly who has played left back, but I think that's a bit of a risk. Um, John Stones is still not 100%. It could be Kusanov, but I think Kusanov is a bit of a liability at points. He's still very young, isn't he?
Yeah, you must get the impression he's
So
still kind
again, you
of
can't predict.
getting used to the kind of Premier League level, isn't he? He's very young. It might come for him, but it's going to take a bit of time, definitely.
Yeah, and obviously they've got Donnarumma, who is, very good shot stopper. That's gonna be the issue as well. You can get through on goal, but you've got probably the best shot
Yeah,
stopper in the world in
yeah,
your
it just gives
goal,
me
and
horrible memories of PSG last year and the amount of goals that we would have
so
scored in any other game against another keeper, but he was just unbelievable in that game. So yeah, coming up against him is not ideal. If we was coming up against a James Trafford, for example, I'd quite fancy us to score a few goals in this game, but you just know to beat Donnarumma, it's got to be a very good, very special finish. So Gyökeres is going to have a good game. Madueke is going to have to, like we said, produce something better with his end product. Um, Eze, Martinelli, Trossard, all these people, they're going to have to be on their A game in and around the box in front of goal
yeah.
to make sure we get something or to get the 3 points from this game. Sorry.
I'm interested to see how they line up tonight because again, as we said, Napoli are a strong team. You wanna start well. I suspect there won't be too much rotation because I don't think there's scope for it, is there? So you'd assume City will not be when it comes to Sunday, the extra 2 days that we've got should help us, shouldn't they? It kind of sometimes doesn't work out, but you'd assume we would be in a better shape, wouldn't we?
Yeah, you would have thought so. Obviously, it helps that City are at home, so I don't think there is as much of a disparity between it, but it's still 2 extra days. I think if we was at home and City away, then there would be a big difference. But I think given that we was away and City are obviously at home, I know it's 2 days, but we've still got to factor in a bit of travel back. Yesterday probably would have been a recovery day anyway. So at this day and age, there's so much kind of around sports science and recovery and all that sort of stuff. Then I wouldn't expect it to make too much difference anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather have it in our
If it's
favour
a
than
physical game tonight, then that could have but if it was a physical game tonight, then that does make a difference, doesn't it? If you're
yes,
having to hard run and
yeah,
well,
yeah.
Conte, I'm
Won't
praying
be
for you, my friend.
yeah. Napoli won't be an easy game for him. Like I said, winning the Liga last year, best team in Italy.
So
Is it Osimhen still up front for him, or is he?
exactly. No, he's gone to Galatasaray. Up front is gonna be Højlund,
Oh God.
so that'll be interesting. Well, apparently he's doing very well. I mean, again, it's like Man United, players leave Man United and they instantly turn better. McTominay became the Serie A player of the year. Marcus Rashford is doing
Mm,
bits at Barcelona,
yeah, true.
obviously. And then obviously Højlund is so again, I still think it's gonna be a tough game because Conte won't allow it to be anything but a tough game. I'd
Mm,
be very concerned if he opens up that much. So, we're gonna come to the predictor in a minute, but what do you make in terms of squad lineup? I get the feeling again, and I hate this, he will go with that midfield if Erdegaard's not fit, and I'm hoping he is, but again, we can't tell with his shoulder injury because he's had it now twice, and it's unfortunate. If Erdegaard's not available, and we would say Ranieri would start, but I still think Mikel Merino will probably get the nod again because it's a big game. You don't wanna you wanna dominate the midfield, and with Tajani, Reinders, and Rodri, you'd say, "Look, get get your experienced players in there, make it tough for them, and you try and,
mm.
let the front three do their work." What do you make of how we're gonna line up, Joe?
Yeah, I think you'll see. I think the back four. I'll tell you what. Before I go into that, yeah, what would you do in terms of the Saliba Mosquera situation? Would you continue with Mosquera given how well he's played, or would you throw Saliba in against Haaland for his first game back from injury?
I would still say Saliba because he's got the experience against Haaland. Haaland is a beast. Excuse me. And although Mosquera's done very well, Haaland is a step up.
Mm,
And I'm talking a big step up because he's a clever player. He's more clever actually this year than I've seen him before. He makes very clever runs now. He was always clever, but he's even more clever now.
yeah.
And I think you just want the experience there. I know Saliba's gonna come in a bit cold, and I actually thought he'd get some minutes in the Bilbao game just to get him warm. But I have no concerns about Saliba coming in, and obviously, if he does have a concern, then we'll throw Mosquera in as needed. But I think you have to start Saliba and Gabriel. You just go with your best and
Mm,
hope Saliba's experience will take him through.
yeah, yeah, that's it. I mean,
What do you think?
yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because Mosquera's played so well recently. He's he's made us ask the question now, which I think is a massive compliment to him. Usually you'd be like, get Saliba in ASAP. Whereas now the fact we're even
Yeah.
entertaining a bit of a conversation, there's a bit of a discussion around, do you bring in the better player who might be a bit rusty, or do you continue with someone who's playing really well? I think I'd still go for Saliba. I think most people would, but like I said, having a discussion now shows, I think, how well Mosquera's done. And
Well, Mosquera will be back for Port Vale, 100%. 100% he'll be back in for Port Vale, though, won't he?
yeah,
I
and
doubt
if
Saliba will
Mosquera
start
does
that
start
game.
against City, yes, maybe it's not ideal, but again, I'm not. I don't think I'd be panic stations as you would be normally if Saliba was missing. I think I'd have faith in him to go
I,
there, be put in another good performance for us.
I wouldn't be amiss to him, but my concern is that, as I said, Haaland is a different kettle of fish. No disrespect to, up front Liverpool had Ekatike, and I thought Ekatike was pretty poor, to be honest. And I
Mm.
think there are,
Oh yeah, Haaland is he's the best in the world.
and he's the best in the world for a reason, and he's got better. As I said, I think he's gone a level up in terms of his movement, and it only takes one chance for him. If you let him in once, that's it. There is no recovery off him.
Mm.
Mosquera's very good at recovery, but there is no recovery off him
Mm.
because he's just so good and he's so lethal. I just think you have to go with the experience, the player who's played against him and dominated him. And you look again, because this is such a hard fixture list, and we've already lost to Liverpool. Not ideal, and you want to make sure you're at your best to beat City if you can, because these big six games are where not necessarily the title is lost, but you set a marker. And again, last year we did really well and get the 5-1. I don't think it'll be that easy this year.
No, I agree.
But I still think we've got a chance for a positive result. And Saliba, even if he's cold, is still probably one of the world's best defenders. So you go with the known quantity for against a known quantity, don't you?
Yeah. What would be? I'll tell you what. Then what? Let's do. What would you want your starting lineup to be, and what do you think the actual starting
Mhm.
lineup?
So my starting lineup: Timber at right back, definitely. David Ryan, sorry, in goal. Timber
Yeah.
at right back. I don't think you can bring Ben White in for this game. It's just too much because I assume Doku will play from the left hand side. So you want the best one-on-one defender in the league. Saliba, Gabriel. I would continue with Calafiori at left back because he's the one who's been playing there. You don't bring in someone new for it. Although I thought Hincapié looked pretty decent actually when he came on. So there's that. Midfield, as I said, Declan Rice, Martin Zubimendi. I think they'll play the pivot as well, and Mikel Merino. Although I'm not particularly keen on Merino, that's who I would assume. I would bring in Ethan Wanieri, to be honest, in this one. If Erdegaard is fit, and I mean if he's fit, not half percentiles and not, then you bring him in. Only then, because it's too much of a risk. It's not enough of a jump. I don't think Martin Odegaard now gives you enough of a jump up for you to say that he has to play. I
Mm.
think it gives you a jump, but not like there. It's different now. Um, but I get the feeling as well, if he's not at all fit, then he will, as I said, play Mikel Merino because Marino's played a number of games. He's in form and
Mm.
set pieces, etc. All of those kind of things. Left wing, I do think he'll start Eze because I think Eze against a Nunez or a Rico Lewis is something very different.
Mm.
Um, it could be Martinelli again because of his defensive work. But on the right, I don't think there's any argument with Saka out. It will be Madueke because I think Madueke has been the best
Mm.
outfield player for us in terms of attack. And then Victor Gyökeres up front. But again, I'm going to temper this with I think Gyökeres will not have an amazing game against City, just simply because it's City. It's a big game. It's cagey. You know, he's still getting used to it. I'm not sure. And also he's going up against Donnarumma. So there's a
Mm.
lot of factors going against it. But I think that's the lineup. My ideal would be Ethan Wanieri starting in the attacking midfield position if Erdegaard is not fit to give us some more creativity because I still think with Zubimendi, with Rice, you've still got enough to combat Tijani Reinders and Rodri, who look
Mm.
very good. But that would be my lineup. Who would you go with, Joe, then?
Yeah. Same to you, mate. I think back five sort themselves out. I think, like we discussed previously, Saliba would come in for me. Midfield would be Rice, Zubimendi. Again, like we kind of discussed, I think Marino does start. If Odegaard is fit, like you said, 100% fit. You play him. Um, Obviously scored against City last year. Um, if Odegaard wasn't fit, I mean, is there'd be a part of me that would potentially, I mean, Arteta wouldn't do it, but in my head, I wonder how a team with Eze playing in the 10 maybe give Martinelli a start off the left, um, given that goal he got during the week and the assist, and his confidence will be high from that. Throw him in, give him a start. We know he offers a lot defensively. And then obviously Gyökeres and Madueke, but that would be something maybe I'd like to see one day. Well, I don't think he'll do it against City, but yeah, I think he'll be either Marino or Odegaard, depending on who's fit. Um, and then I think, yeah, like you said,
Do
I
you
think
think
he'll,
there's a world in which he may start with? Here's a question for you, Joe. Do you think he's psychotic enough, and there is a line which he may actually drop Victor Gyökeres for Marino up front on its own, on his own, and then play, someone else in the midfield? Because Gyökeres has done well, and I think he's improving. But I have seen a side of Mikel Arteta where he can throw the curveball and
mm,
make it awkward. There is a world where you go, "Oh God, he's going to do it, isn't he?"
yeah, I can see where your thought process is coming from, Yen, but I don't think he will because I think potentially,
You're scared, aren't you? I saw the look of fear. I thought I saw the fear in your eyes, Joe. I
yeah,
saw that just now. You were like, "Oh my God, he might
as,
actually do
yeah.
that."
But the thing is, well, I think Arteta's a smart man, and I think he might well be aware of the repercussions of doing that in the mainstream media and potentially what that could. Can you imagine the conversations that people be having if Gyökeres is left out for this and Marino starts ahead of him, and how that would be spun by the pundits and the so-called
Yeah.
experts? So I think you'll see Gyökeres start. I think in these big games, I think eventually what we're going to see, hopefully, is Gyökeres with that kind of Haaland effect. He might not be as effective or do it as well, but I think you'll see him not be involved very much. He might not get many touches of the ball, but if something falls for him in the box, he'll take that chance. And I feel like that's what we're
And he's
kind
an
of
awkward
work.
customer, isn't he? He's still awkward.
Yeah, I feel like that's what
He's
we're
still
kind of
awkward, isn't
working
he, though?
towards. Is he's getting used to us, and I think you're starting to see us get a bit more used to him. I mean, there's a couple of times in the Bilbao game. The one that comes to mind was Declan Rice had the ball, and he just held it for a split second too long as Gyökeres curved the run in the first half, and he was offside. Um, Rather than take that second little touch, Rice just needed to slide him through. Um, so it is coming.
Yeah.
Um, and I think once, obviously, at home is where Gyökeres has been doing his damage. He scored 3 goals now in 2 games at the Emirates. Um, so the fact we're
Yeah.
back again against City, I know it's a bigger game, but he's been scoring at the Emirates. So yeah, give him a start and let's see if he can have that, like I said, that sort of Haaland effect. And he might not
I
be
think
involved in the game. He might not contribute to build up play. He might not do a lot. But if he has a couple of touches in the area and one of them results in a goal, then so be it. And that's what he's there to do at the end of the day.
But the thing is, I think more and more Victor Gyökeres is becoming a very good focal point. I mean, he gets us up the field in terms of he gets the fouls, he moves us up the field, he gets fouls, because defenders are so intent on pressing him hard, aren't they? They get very touch tight almost to Victor Gyökeres. We've seen it. So even if it happens here, even if he gets us up the field, that's what you want, isn't it? You want to relieve the pressure at least, because City are still a very good team. It's going to be more even, I think, more than ever now. But you'd assume that he will start just because he looks good physically. I think up
Mm.
against Diaz and Gvardiol, it's still going to be a contest, isn't it? He'll occupy them, won't he?
Yeah, again, as well, like we kind of spoke about in the Liverpool post game, I feel like if you take Gyökeres out and put Marino in as your starting striker, I think straight away we're on the back foot because Man City will think straight well they're more worried about us than they are playing their own game. So at home, I think we've got to go with the intention to go and win this game. Um, like we said, whether we win or whether we not, that we'll learn about that after the 90 minutes. But I think going into the game, you've got to put a foot down right at the start and say, we're at home, we want to win the league, let's go and beat Man City. That should be the
Exactly. No,
baseline.
I agree with it. Absolutely, Joe. So let's move it into the predictors game. Let's get this. Let's
Do it.
get this going. I'm keen to claw back and start to
Roll back.
edge forward. So, Joe, why don't you take it away?
So far, Yem, after 3 weeks of doing this, 3 rounds of fixtures, you are on a total of 60 points, and I am on 65 points. So there is not a lot in it.
Not
Uh,
much in it. I can feel it. I can. Okay,
Not
so
much in
let's
this
get
one
this
at all.
going.
So, like we mentioned earlier,
Go on.
early game Saturday is the Merseyside derby. Everton at home to Liverpool, obviously in their new stadium. First Merseyside derby. What is your prediction, Yem?
No, it's Liverpool. It's Liverpool. It's at Anfield actually. This one.
Is it?
This one's at Anfield.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you looking at it right now?
Yes. I'm looking at it right now. It's at Anfield.
Tell me.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now. Liverpool.
Right, let me have a look. Have I cut day one of? Let's have a look at this. I'll tell you what. Talk us through your prediction whilst I'm double checking your work, Yem. Oh, you are right. I apologise. It is at Anfield, as you were.
We
Right.
got one wrong each. This is
Yes.
because it's at Anfield. Because it's at Anfield, and Liverpool are masters at the moment of winning in the 90th minute. I think it's going to be a 90th minute winner, 2-1 to Liverpool. I hate it. I hate it. Honestly, hate it.
2-1 Liverpool. Right. Given the updated news that this
What are
is,
you going to do? What are you going to go for?
I am going to go. I think you'll see Liverpool come quite strong for this one. I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for a 3-0 Liverpool win.
Whoa! Everton, not even Jack Grealish, not even to contribute a goal.
No, I think Liverpool have been getting away with murder, and I think at some point they're going to kind of fix up and just do the business on someone. I fear for Everton in this one. I think Liverpool could remedy their recent defensive struggles and put Everton to the sword somewhat.
Okay.
Next one, hilarious.
Okay.
Given what happened to them last night, Burnley versus Nottingham Forest. Did you see the
Big Ange, the Big Ange
Forest
effect.
last night?
How could I not watch that hate watch? It was beautiful. Ange, it's what we do, mate. I thought Burnley actually did. I thought Burnley actually did really well against Liverpool to hold out at the 90 minutes. But I get the feeling this kind of game is made for Nottingham Forest in terms of personnel. It's that kind of game where they should do well. I'm going to go with a draw here. I think it's going to be 1-1.
1-1. I'm going to go for.
I know you're yawning because it's boring. I know it's because that's the dullest game you're going to see this weekend.
I didn't see Burnley. I know it's Liverpool, but I didn't see Burnley offering much at all in an attacking sense. So for me, I'm going to go for a Forest 2-0 win because I just don't see where Burnley have goals, basically.
Score goals. Okay.
Yeah.
No, fair. It's a fair point.
Next one is Brighton at home to Tottenham.
This is an interesting one because Brighton are actually a decent side and Tottenham away have not looked amazing. They've played Champions League. This is the first time they're rotating between the Champions League and this, although it was a pretty drab affair. I think Brighton were going to get the win, actually. I think it's going to be a 3-2 to Brighton.
Wow, goals.
I think Brighton are very good. I think Brighton are a very good side, actually. They beat City and they did it well. I think Tottenham are defensively very solid, but I think going between the Champions League and this is a different step.
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this one. I think they're quite evenly matched, these two.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, I'm going to go for a draw. I think Thomas Frank's obviously sorted Spurs out to a certain degree, but I think Brighton, like you said, still a good side. Obviously turned City over, so yeah. West Ham versus Palace.
I think Palace will win this one, actually, because I think Palace are a good team. I think they're a very good team. I think Oliver Glasner, as I said on many occasions, is a very good coach. I think West Ham are in the mire. If Potter isn't sacked sooner rather than later, I think they're going to have real problems. And there's rumours that Slaven Bilic is due to come back if he is sacked. So I don't know what West Ham's thought process is because it really does not seem to be working in any sense of the word. You get rid of one of their best managers in David Moyes, who won you a Conference League, your only trophy in the last 5 years, but you try to replace him with someone who's arguably not really proven it outside of Brighton. And then you're bringing Slaven Bilic in, potentially, who's, I don't think, done very well either.
It's a classic case of
So
fans always think the
I
grass is
th
greener, don't they? When now I imagine that a lot of West Ham fans
that's
would want David Moyes back, I imagine.
it's ridiculous. And Slaven
Yeah.
Bilic does not play sexy football. He plays defensive football, so what are you doing? I think Palace will win this one. I think Palace are gonna win this 2-0
That's it,
because I
yeah.
think Palace are a much better attacking side than and West Ham, I don't see where the goals are coming from.
No, I was thinking along the same lines, yeah. So rather than copying yours, I'm going to go for a 0-1, 1-0 Palace win.
Ooh.
Although they've been playing well, they've been scoring
Here's a
hatful.
Palace win. I'm going with the Palace win.
So yeah. Next one is Wolves against Leeds. Wolves are at home, I believe.
Um, I'm gonna go with the Wolves win because I think Wolves still have been a bit unlucky in some of the games. They're not great. I still think they're candidates for the relegation spots. They look it already. But I think they'll get the win here just, and I think it will be a 1-0 Wolves.
1-0, 1-0 home win.
Because I don't think again Leeds away don't look great. I think at home the Ellen Road crowd get them going and it moves them and it does add to them. But I still don't see enough from Leeds that leads me to believe they won't be fighting for their Premier League place.
Yeah. Yeah, these two are both sort of down the bottom, aren't they? Neither of them started particularly well. Leeds did win their last game, though. I know it was a very ropey own goal. I reckon this is going to be a bit of a stalemate, this one, because I don't think either side is playing with much confidence. I'm going to go. I'm going to go 0-0. A real boring 0-0. Gonna be a bore draw, I reckon. This one.
Boring one.
Next one. United,
Okay.
Chelsea.
Oh, Chelsea will win this one. United are awful. I That Man City game showed me how bad they are in terms of it. It just doesn't look like it's working for Ruben Amorim for whatever reason. There's a significant lack of personnel within that midfield, and the defense looks really bad. I think Chelsea have enough in them to rotate, and I think they'll win this game. I think it's going to be a 2-1 Chelsea.
2-1. I'm going to go. I like you, mate. I think Chelsea will win. United are still struggling. They're still having big problems. Will they score? I'm going to go for a 3-1 Chelsea win. I'll give United a goal, but I think
Okay.
Chelsea will have too much for them, to be
Do
honest.
you think Amarim's gonna survive? Do you think Amarim's gonna survive for this? Or do you think he's gonna go?
The thing is, Man United have kind of put themselves into a position where they're damned if they do and damned if they don't, because they've got to show that they're not just willy-nilly sacking managers and they're trying to build something. But equally, how long can you keep going with his current kind of set of results? Because this isn't a short-term thing. He's been there now for a long enough time where you'd expect to see some sort of kind of improvement. And I don't think we've seen it yet. So I don't know, mate. They either continue with him and remain a laughing stock for a while, or they sack him and become a laughing stock because they've sacked another manager. So I think they're in a horrible position. But
Mhm.
as Arsenal fans, we can just sit back with the popcorn and happily enjoy it from afar.
I am
Uh,
going to. I am gonna be watching it. The hate watch will be there.
yeah, it'll be a good game to watch. It'll be entertaining, definitely. Fulham versus Brentford is our next one.
Mm. Oh, the West London derby. I think it's going to be a draw. I think they're two very similar teams. I think a 1-1.
I'm exactly the same as you, Yen. Before you even started talking, I typed in my score on our little board I've got here, and I'd gone for 2-2. So we're both thinking along the same lines.
Both going with
Uh,
1-1.
Next one we've got is Sunderland at home to Villa.
Ooh, Aston Villa are not scoring still. I mean, they scored in midweek, but I wasn't particularly impressed. I'm going to go with a Sunderland home win. I think a 1-0.
1-0. Nice. Like you, mate, I fancy Sunderland to win this again because I think a lot of their points are going to come at home, and Villa have done absolutely nothing yet this season. And Unai is Unaiing doing his finest work. So I think Villa might score, but I can see Sunderland. Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Sunderland win. I think it's going to be another week where Villa
Ooh,
don't score.
wow. That's pretty impressive, though, over Villa.
Yeah, they are struggling at the moment. I wonder how long they're going to give Unai. Do you think?
Shall I give my prediction about what's going to happen with Unai? And
Go
you're
on.
not going to like this. I think Amarim's going to get sacked, and they're going to go with Unai.
Really?
I think Unai will go to United.
Wow, that is a bold shout, Ian. Given how Villa are doing at the moment as well.
You got them to check. United, right. If you haven't learned anything, Joe, and we all know this, United don't do anything right generally. Generally, they tend to do things wrong. When they haven't got it right for the last 20 years, they're trying to build a stadium that looks like a clown a circus tent. Whoever decided that was a good design needs to go to a design conference, honestly. I get the feeling that they're gonna go, "Ooh, we need a manager. Ooh, Unai, Premier
I like that.
experience one."
People need to bookmark this podcast and come back to this if it happens.
People, I am the oracle. Forget
The
David Ornstein. I am the
Oracle
oracle.
has spoken.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Oracle. Bournemouth versus Newcastle is the next one.
I think Bournemouth are at home, I think they'll win this one
Mm.
because Newcastle playing today.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a big game. A lot of energy is gonna be taken out because the crowd, the excitement playing Barcelona, one of the biggest teams in the world. I think Bournemouth are very well set up this season. I think they're gonna have a good season, and I think Iraola again doing what he does and just showing how good a coach he is. If United had any sense, and I mean any sense, they would go for Iraola. That's the one that would probably take them to the next level. But United don't have sense, so it'll be Unai. And, I think Bournemouth will win this 2-1.
Yeah, that's a Yem prediction. Another 2-1.
I'm nothing if not consistent.
I think very similar to you, Yem. I think this could be a Bournemouth Newcastle win. Do you know what? I'm going to copy you for this one because 2-1 is exactly what I was thinking as well. I
Hey!
think I think that's got 2-1 written all over it. That I
Okay,
think
okay,
that's one of them games.
okay.
And on to the main event of the weekend, the one that everyone will be waiting for. Arsenal at home to Manchester City.
It's gotta be the Arsenal, hasn't it? It's gotta be the Arsenal. Come on, the Arsenal. Love it. I think this is gonna be a 3-1 to the Arsenal.
One to the Arsenal.
Come on, the Arsenal. I'm gonna be there for it. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be Are you going, Joe?
I am, mate. You?
Yes, I can't wait, honestly. I cannot. These are the games that I want big noise. I want big, I want
It'll
a
be
big
that big game
atmosphere.
feel again, isn't it?
Oh,
I
can't
think
wait.
we're going to continue our fine defensive run, keep a clean sheet. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 home win.
Wow, you think Haaland's gonna be shut out? Shut
I
out?
think our defence has been very, very good this year, and I think they're going to continue their fine vein of
Hmm,
form, and we're going to
okay.
have another shutout win, hopefully.
Very interesting. Okay, so that's the predictors all done, locked in, Joe. Have you locked them into
They're
the
all locked in, mate.
supercomputer?
They are
And
in the
they'll
computer, and we are ready to prove to everyone that we know very little about football again.
Exactly. We're here to change the game by showing our incompetence. That's how we change the game. We don't lie about our incompetence like the media does. We tell you we are incompetent, but we're there for it. We're gonna end it there. Thank you very much, as always, Joe, for your fine analysis. Always providing the yin to my yang, as it were.
glad to do it, mate. It's just been like you touched on previously. It's been a heavy couple of days
Yeah.
in the household, so it's been nice. And are we potentially making another appearance elsewhere this week? Maybe.
We potentially are, people. So if you're listening to this, and we're going to try release this either Thursday night or Friday morning, we are due to be scheduled to join the late night latte tomorrow. So
Yes.
Friday night, 10 o'clock. I think Pfizer will put it out, but it's going to be a red light half spaces takeover.
A takeover. The takeover is in session. We
That's
warned
it.
the
Look, we
the
told you
tummies,
we
yeah,
would take over. We're
we
coming
warned the
for him
people that
straight
was
away.
coming, and here it comes.
No, but we're very much looking for. We always enjoy talking with FK. You know, we've done it for years, and looking forward to it. So look out for us tomorrow, people. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, we'll get this out before then, so please do check us out on the Late Night Latte. You know where they are, Latte Firm on YouTube. It's one of the top accounts. If you're not listening, do go and listen. It's always top work. But Joe, thank you as always. Appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who's listening out there. Again, please do subscribe. Please do have a listen. Keep listening to the content. We're going to keep out. We're going to put the videos out as usual. We're looking forward, hopefully, forward to us having a post-match review on Monday where we're discussing a win. I hope. If it's not, it's going to be one really depressing kind of chat, but we will be there for it. But as always, thank you so much for listening. We're going to catch you on the next one of Red Lines, Half Spaces. Come on, the Arsenal.